guys, welcome to the close stream for, of course, Wednesday, the 22nd of December. Can you believe where we are already? And can you believe this market? Very good. It's coming back, guys, and it's looking much, much better. Plenty of things to talk about today. Obviously, we'll be discussing the movements in the markets. We've got the US 500 up 0.67, Nasdaq up about 0.8, and the other markets up between about 0.5, 0.6. So things are looking a bit better. Maybe we will see that green action coming into the Santa Claus rally, the Christmas rally afterneath. Now, what does that mean? It just basically means that we might have that extra 1 or 2%. We might be able to apply the US 500 towards our eventual target, which is on the SPX. If we remember rightly, we pop on our pivots, and we're talking about the 4800 zone. I'll show you guys how to pop pivots on, by the way. I'm getting a lot of questions about this. So you just put pivot in, type it into your trading view window, and you just put CPR. When that then applies, it'll come up with a huge amount of lines. Just click on them, go to settings, disable everything but the monthly pivots, and there you go. And then you get your 4800. And that's really as simple as it is. You also have your central pivots. You can disable these a little bit just to get the central point instead of the other ones. But look, welcome to the stream. We've got plenty to discuss today. This will be also our final stream. Yes, I said it. Our final live stream for 2021. Now, don't worry. That doesn't mean that we're not coming back in 2022 strong. But this will be the final stream ahead of Christmas and the New Year. We are taking a small break here. Still be producing some content, but it'll be just on reduced capacity. So thank you so much, firstly, before we even start, for the support on 2021. You guys made this channel where it is right now, and we'll talk about that a little bit later as well. So let's discuss some more movements. Tesla back above $1,000. Very nice, 6.88%. I see here a question coming in from Donkin Dave saying Tesla to 1,200. Certainly potential. A slightly different calculation methodology, Gary. You can look it up on the internet if you're interested in it. So S&P 500. Let's figure out what's going on here. We've got the daily. It's looking good. It's above that 46.70 zone. So it looks like now we move towards the 47.15. There can always be a pullback, but look, we became bullish on it immediately as soon as we saw that turn on the weekly 20 moving average. I don't really see many problems for this moving forward. I think we've got some maybe issues. I'll just quickly reload the Epic Pen 1 second, guys. Reload my drawing tool. So I don't want to do Epic Games Launcher. There we go. All right, that should be a bit better now. There we go. So, yeah, we have basically the movement up that can happen, which is to 47.15, 47.10, and then we do have some pullbacks that can occur. Now, we could go back down to this previous little area here. We could also potentially pull back over the Christmas period to around a 4,600. But I think that both of these areas here are going to be more of buying zones than weakness. And I think this market is showing us that it wants to go towards that 47.10. It wants to hit that resistance. And we know that the daily is going to be the time frame here. So it's going to all be about that one. If we think about it here, we see the 47.15. We know the daily closes have happened 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, whatever many times it is now. We close above, and then that opens up. I'm thinking the 4,800. Now, the 4,800 is much more than just that. Let's just quickly break this down on why it's so important. And we'll do this in today's video. It's because it also lines up very well with our community trend line. So our community trend, you always want to bring multiple reasons into your analysis. So one of those is going to be with the S&P 500, will it be able to hit a resistance? When it hits a resistance, is it also hitting a trend line? Same with the Nasdaq. And I think that makes a lot of sense. We had the bottom end trend line being reached. You can pretty much now trap the S&P 500 like this and put it in almost a ascending channel. So that's a nice thing to be able to do because it gives us some defined levels also for 2022 and moving forward. You know, here's our defined levels. Here's our trap on the market. There's nothing better than being able to trap it this way. We've also got that weekly 20 that we've been following. It's good. So the market does look strong. I think it looks good. Now, where are the opportunities over the break? Where are the opportunities potentially in the market? Well, I still think IWM presents opportunities. We're going to close right on the resistance here for this one. 220, so around 219.71. You'll notice it's hitting the 20 moving average daily. So this opens up day trades as well for the next sessions. We're at a resistance coming into the close. Volume has declined, it looks like here, that we'll see how it happens into the close. And the daily is the resistance point. We know this. Look at this. Daily 20, previous resistance, 220, very clear. So for a day trader, for a speculator into the markets, what you're really looking for in the next session is, of course, some breach of this zone so you can move towards the next zone. And I think this is the most defined market right now. If we're looking at the Russell, it's just so good, guys. 220 into 226 makes a lot of sense. And then 226, a breach of that, it does provide a higher percentage opportunity. Because if we go back over to the US 500, it's good. But even if it gets to 4,800, that's only around a 2.71% return. Again, IWM is risky, there's no doubt. But the return from here to here is around 3% just by itself. So we can see that these are the areas of interest right now. IWM, US 500, obviously the Nasdaq's also doing well. You guys would know where the resistance is for this. It's pretty much sitting right on 16,450. Couldn't get any clearer. Resistance, 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 resistance. And we're in the middle of the land. Now, where do we close today? Makes sense we close here because we're right in that little bit of support becomes resistance. So let's think about it. We got the S&P 500 kind of in the middle, 47.15, probably the key resistance. We got the Nasdaq closing in on a pretty good resistance. We have the IWM, so the Russell 2000 closing in on a pretty good resistance. You would usually expect a pullback day in the next session because of this, because of the moves, the recovery, all of these things would make sense, even like this. That's something that I will be looking out for in the next couple of trading sessions. I think it makes sense. What do you guys think about that? Does that make sense to you? Let's find out. Let's read some chat here. Thank you very much to the 411 people joining us as well. If you smash that like button, it gives you Christmas cheer and means that you're going to get a better present. That present may be really, really good prices on stocks. I don't know. Could be anything. All right, we'll look at a whole bunch of crypto a little bit later. Don't worry. Crypto looks really, really good. Tesla obviously improving as well. We'll check that out very soon. Hot Potato Trader says, I agree. Heat map looks healthy. Somebody says SPCE. Really? Really? There's no way. Is that moving again? Please tell me it's not. Thank God. This trash stock was the story of 2021. And we might even do a little bit of a story time once we go through our stocks here. So let's continue. We've got IWM. Let's go into Tesla. Everyone's excited about this, rightfully so. Closing, another one closing around resistance. So obviously 1,000 break will be big for it. The question before from someone was, will it fill the gap? Tesla doesn't have to fill gaps. It's got plenty of gap fills that have never happened on the upside. Traditionally, you do see around 70% of gaps fill, but I find that Tesla can jump out of the gates and continue on. It's a fairly big close for it. It's above the daily 20, above the daily 50. I mean, you can really see that sentiment coming back in. And we did end up getting it through this rejection. And the real signs here were actually on the smaller time frame. So when we go down to something like the 4 hour, you get that bullish hammer, get the follow through. We had the downward trend line. It snapped that, and it just went bang out of the gate, straight into 1,000. This is a resistance, no doubt. I don't consider this a full crack, even with it being above 1,000 just because you have so much previous spiking. And we know that Tesla doesn't mind spiking $5, $10 through a level. So could it get back? Yes, it could. I tend to think this is actually pretty strong for it. So maybe it does this in the next session. And then a lot of people will buy that kind of thing. So if it gets back above, comes back to the 1,000, I think that'll be where the strong buyers come back into the market. And will this go to 1,200? Well, it's certainly looking like it can do a decent change here, because once you get past 1,000, then we open up that 1,100 again, and of course the 1,200 becomes open as well. And it's done what we wanted it to do. It pulled back to our first favorite zone, and that shows you that being patient does pay, especially once you see these hyperactive markets. You know, if you bought into the FOMO, you might be stuck at some prices that you'll eventually get back to, or if you waited, 27.5% on the down spike. And I will admit, I probably will be getting a Tesla in 2022, I've got to say. So I went and drove them. I was adequately impressed. They are quick. I'll give them that. They are quick. 3 seconds to 100 is 100 kilometers, 60 miles is not bad at all, guys. I actually encourage people that hate them to give it a test drive. Whenever you're a hater, go try something, yeah? We want a review, Tom, says Finken. Yeah, well, I do think they're pretty good. There are some flaws, and I hear that they're putting AMD processors in them. So I would probably, I'm trying to wait for that. Safest car in the market? I tend to agree. Because the reason why is the 1 foot pedal and the self brake that it does. So they're actually pretty good. Build quality, not up there with some of the other brands like the German brands and stuff in terms of quality inside. But yeah, speed wise, very cool. The fast one makes like a warp cannon speed when you go really, really fast. I like that sound. That it's very warp like. So it's pretty cool from that aspect. I like the cars. We'll see how the rest of obviously the company is not really about the cars. It's about everything else, the AI, the technology, that sort of stuff. So we'll see what happens there. All right, let's keep going through. What else have we got? So we've got Apple actually still doing fairly strong numbers, 1.175. Look, uncharacteristically strong. I will warn against Apple, I think, in 2022 at this stage. I like Apple. I love the company. I'm a bit of a fan person of this. I might even buy their car one day. But realistically, the way I see it is with Apple, we're probably going into a little bit of an overpriced market for it. It's kind of similar to the back end of 2020. Look at the PE ratios over time, and you will notice that this is very high. It has to come out with a stellar figure. So just remember that from more of an investment than a trade perspective. Trader doesn't care because you've got your stop loss, your entry, everything. But I am not loving the price of Apple right now, like we were when we were down in these levels, and we were talking about it heavily on the channel at this stage. It's kind of like Tesla. We loved Tesla when it was doing right things. You'll notice I put Apple into our analysis down here. I thought 165 for Christmas. It's surpassed that, which is cool. But yeah, very, very aggressive. Let's keep going through some other stocks. We will do commodities as well soon. So it's a little bit of a mixture here on the, I guess you would say, hyper stocks. Airbnb, another 2.3%. Let's have a look at some of the ones, though, that we're leading into for the previous sessions. Let's have a look at the crowd strikes. These are some of the ones that I think when we're not doing the live streams, they could pop. I mean, you've got a 212.56 resistance here. You've got a series of higher lows currently. You've got that chance of a breakout that could occur, which could be fantastic towards this type of stock. And we know also, like a lot of these hypers, if you'd invested in it in 2021, guess what? You're down. You're either down to flat. So these are the type of stocks that I'm actually looking at for 2022. When you go and look at some of the Cathie Wood funds, the ARC-Gs right at a resistance right now, very similar style setup, an accumulation base. You've got the ARC-Ks, a potential accumulation base in the future. These types of things and these stocks could actually be where the interest is. What do you guys think in the chat? Tell me what your interest is for 2022. Are you interested in biotechnology? Are you interested in hyper stocks? Are you just going to buy the FANG and you say, I don't care? Are you buying what we call boomer stocks in some ways? Some of the banks, the financials, the materials. What is your sector? Tell me right now. What are you looking at for 2022? I'm interested for sure. Hot Potato says, wow, crowd. Yeah, it's certainly down. AAPL is the World Bank. Yeah, Apple back to 124, says Frank Evans. I think certainly 140, 150 could be in the works. Probably not 140, more like the 150. Mark Wilkins says the trippy thing is how not accelerating acts like braking. That's right. Yeah. No worries, Monica will do it. Glenn Bear says ARK-K, ARK-G crowd. Recent volume looks great. Yeah, recent volume looks great. Basing looks better. Basing certainly does look better. A lot of these stocks, little pullbacks today. So things like Take Two still have really good formations on them, still have the potential for the upside. I mean, this is obviously an inverse head and shoulders, another one that we've been looking at this week. Things like net still showing pretty much some weakness here. I think this stock is overpriced. I like Cloudflare a lot, but I think it is overpriced by a lot of metrics. Most of the reason it's probably staying somewhere around like here is because of this. So because of the trend line, but just be careful on this one. It's a great stock. I like it a lot, but yeah, look, where you're looking for the continuation is around here. So around this 144 breach out. If you're looking for 144 breach out, that's where I could see the participation coming in. PayPal is kind of similar. If we look at PayPal holdings on the Nasdaq, still getting that holding pattern, but it is improving. And you can tell when you versus Square or something like that, which chart looks better. And I'll ask this to the community. Let's split them side by side. So here's our PayPal chart. No doubt hideous coming into it, but you know, it is where it is. And then we look at the Square chart. Which one do you like more from a TA perspective? So there we go, comparing apples and apples. So are both in a declining market? Absolutely. What's happening with Square? Well, it's really just showing that it constantly is rejecting these zones. And it's actually acting relatively technically. So let's find out what you guys think. Got a $1.99 donation coming in from ECA Chiaroti. Thank you very much there. Appreciate that. And we've got Edwin says, Tom, 2022, the question is if COVID is gone, then I will sell my FANG and buy UAL, AAL, EXPD. Like Tom Lee said, there will be rotation. Are you saying like Tom Lee said or like Tom me said? Because I say the same thing. Of course, there's going to be rotation. There's always rotation. Rotation is the big thing that you go into the market. What do I think of Piton? We'll check it out. But Piton, the word is always not enough moat on stocks like that. So bios and uranium from Jennifer, ARK-G and FAAMG. Labu and Fang. Labu's like the very risky biotech. Well, less risky than others. Most people are saying PayPal. They prefer PayPal. And again, ECA, thank you very much for the donation, $1.99. Yeah, so PayPal has the better base. This one also has a bit of a declining history, though, that you can see it and you can therefore potentially trade it. It doesn't have the base of PayPal, though. PayPal is a much solider. You can just tell that the market is considering this level well. And that's the type of thing that you really want to look for when you're looking for stocks. There are certain ways of scanning for them that I teach in the private mentoring groups and stuff like that. It's you know, it isn't foolproof, but when you scan for them, you can see them. But it's a very similar thing to what we do here on the lives as well. There are some similarities there. We'll go through some, I guess, requests here. If you guys have some stocks that you want to be looking at, we've got 7 minutes into the close. Look, it's a good day. It's green, crypto markets where I really want to discuss some stuff in a minute. But let's look at some of the other things going on here. Gold bouncing, nice. Come on now. Can you bring us some Christmas cheer? Where's our gold rally? Okay, this is ridiculous. How long do we have to wait for just seeing a little bit of greeny gold? So 1803 here on gold, that's good. 1810, obviously the resistance we want to breach. Probably want like an 1811 ideally. And if we get it, fantastic. And you know what? Silver's just cracked. Look at this. Silver has actually done what we asked for it. Thank you, Silver. We haven't got the closure yet, but we will in 1 hour. I would assume that silver is broken out, and that is exciting news. Finally, it has come back. We got Wilberto Carlos, $2. How did you get into stock trading? Well, funnily enough, the way I got into stock trading was actually through my dad. So I'll give him credit here. My dad gave me, I'll just quickly, ECA, I will do your SEV soon. Okay. I didn't see your comment, but one of the mods picked it up. So the way I got into stock trading was my dad got me into stocks probably when I was like 14, something like that. But a lot of it really just came from the fact that I've always run businesses. So even when I was 5 years old, I still remember I printed like a little business card and I would take it to my friends' parents' places. And 5 or 6 years old, was ridiculous. And I was trying to run my little business. So I've always liked that kind of stuff. When I was 14, I bought my first stock with obviously with my dad's help. 16, I got into it a bit more. Then I dropped it, as you can expect. And I came back really around my early 20s. And it just so happened that at the time, I was in more kind of Forex. We were in, obviously, the global financial crisis, that 2007 to 2008 period. And I was interested in getting cheaper prices. One of my mates was doing it. And, a business partner that I have now as well, we started doing it. We got lucky to really stick with it and then be able to also access some very great opportunities over the years. But a lot of it just comes from that. I mean, basically, I've always had an interest. We didn't learn about it in school, as I always find is ridiculous. I mean, don't you guys think that's stupid how we don't learn about how to actually retain wealth? And I think there's a reason for that, guys. But we don't learn it. And yeah, that's the way I started. So thank you very much, Wilberto. Got a question coming in here from Hiro Hasagawa, Australian $5. Thank you for all the helpful insights for the year. Absolutely, no worries. And ECA, SEV, is it a buy now? We'll have a look at that in a second. This is a fantastic movement, though, from the silver. So SEV, I assume, just make sure it's not crypto. No, it's probably Sono Group that you're talking about. Oh, that looks pretty bad. So it's a new thing. You can't TA these, man. They're not, they have no history. They don't have volume. I don't even know what this is. It's sub $1 billion. It's a motor vehicle company. Realistically, I can't even tell you. It's all about the fundamentals here and basic human psychology, if that is the one. So yeah, thank you very much for the donation, but we just cannot TA it. You can't tell anything. I mean, $10 is a psychological number, but yeah, very, very hard to tell what's there. Tack Winward, thank you again. Happy holidays to you as well, Tack. $5. Appreciate that. And Bob Hayes says, Tom is awake. Thank God. I'm here, Bob. Don't worry. Tom, can you comment on LCID, please? LCID, sure. That's Lucid Group. Pretty decent little range here for the stock. This is the daily. Actually looks like it's really trying to figure out the next level or next zone. I mean, what's the market telling us here? Long leg doji, rejections, a bunch of kind of stuffing around here. Then we've got another rejection around this level, long leg doji, and a rejection. So it's telling us a story of we have no idea what's going on. And the weekly also is showing that. It's had that nice breakout. Everyone gets hyped on this stock. And look, if you recognize this, we did have this one trapped. If you recognize the breakout, and you know that this is a hyper stock when it goes nuts, when everyone gets into it, they all go crazy on it. But we also need to know it's prone to the pumpy and the dumpy. So just like here, the pumpy and the dumpy is there. I think this trap is incredibly good between the long leg doji of the previous week. And you can pretty much start to think about it. All right, what are we doing? If we get a closure above maybe $40, then you're looking at some confirmation. You practice maybe a portion of scaling above here with your own systems, double bottoms in play, and then things are looking way better towards the upside. It could play out quite nicely. I mean, if it's TA, TA is TA, and this is a decent little story that we've got going on here. So we're about to close the market. Everything's looking pretty fine and dandy. We're moving towards 4,700 on the SPX at 0.95%. The US 100, 1.19, and IWM actually on the 220. So right on that resistance for the end of the day. Not bad at all. Very good. Gary Saini, $9.99. Thank you very much, Gary. Appreciate the support. Thank you so much for the knowledge videos and the streams. Can't wait for 2022. Neither can I. The Discord community is going to get really buffed up and improved. So that's going to be pretty damn amazing for the private community and even the public community members. We're going to have some extra kind of changes to the channel. I think you guys will really enjoy in the first quarter. And yeah, we're going to take on feedback as well. So if you have feedback on the channel about what you think we might want to be doing, I'm going to run some more polls. I think that last poll didn't really work. So yeah, we always taking feedback. It's what you guys want ultimately more than what I want. So I want to know what you guys need from us and the channel. Wilberto Carlos, $2. Great story. And you have taught me a lot. Thanks a lot. No worries, man. It's all about learning every single day. Other classes on sale, SW says. You can message me in Discord if you want SW. And you can just let me know which one you're looking at. I'll see what I can do for you. I always wondered, what is the long leg doji? Like Dogecoin? It's not the Dogecoin. I just like calling it doji. It's obviously, it's not necessarily pronounced that way. So the markets are looking fantastic. I'm excited about a lot of things, but you know what? It just gets better, guys, because let's have a look at oil. 73. Oh, congrats to people that day traded this over the last 2 days. You want to talk about markets? I want to talk about commodities. Look at this. Look at this beauty. It came back. That was so nasty, that FOMC Fed FUD crud that happened over here. But when it reversed and got back above 69.50, there was a decent day trade in the previous session, and we've slammed straight back into 73. And look at it now, at the resistance. We get that closure. Look how cool that level is. It's almost too cool. I always don't like it when it's too cool because everyone's looking at it. But yeah, 73 resistance here, very big deal. We've broken through a few things now. If we go back over to the daily, we've gone through the daily 20 moving average for the first time in all of these drops. So we've got sell off, sell off, sell off, and all of a sudden a bullish close. It's a big deal. Oil is looking, black gold is getting better, and 73 plus. I mean, it's exciting. There's a lot of how fast things turn, hey? A few days, and we've turned the market completely. Yes, we've closed. It looks like we went in at a 0.93 and a 1.18. We closed the IWM, I assume, right at 220, pretty much right at 220. So not really definitive closure out or anything, but good sign. And it's also a bit behind today, I would think, in my opinion. It's only up 1%, and the other markets are up about the same, but this one here should be moving harder. So yeah, very important. Could be some cool trade days. 226 is the next line that people will be looking at. And then past that, really fantastic stuff. Really fantastic stuff. Michael Mercury, Australian $5. Thanks for all the efforts, Tom. Definitely helped my trading this year after struggling for some time. Merry Xmas. That's awesome to hear, Michael. I hope we do help people. Remember, trading is not about taking a ton of trades. You don't have to be a high-frequency trading. I actually think high-frequency trading has never been harder. And the reason, algorithms. If you ban algorithms, bring us back. But algorithms have created an incredible stress in high-frequency trading. Do you guys agree with this comment? Anyone that does a lot of scalping, a lot of day trading, actually in the day, there are some days that you want to come in during big news and become reactionary. But it's not really about trying to be predictive on those days. You've just got to be reactionary, draw up your bigger time frame lines, And remember, if you're going to take anything out of the course or anything that we're doing at the moment, it's use the powers of multi-time frame analysis. Jump in through the time frames like we've done. It is a game changer. If you're struggling from not being in analysis paralysis or too much trading, use scaling, guys. It will help you to get into trades and reward trades that are doing well. Tim Norton says, I love my oils. Absolutely. The oils are doing quite well. And then we've got Walter says, DXY, man. Yep. Here's the DXY coming back down. Still trapped theoretically in the zone of the long leg doji fest and rejections. It's not bad to be coming down. I mean, obviously coming down allows gold to go up and silver to go up. There is a support maybe around here, but I think it's so close to actually breaching to a downside because you've got maybe this as the last stop before it goes all the way back down to like 95.50. QQQ bounce off its middle Bollinger Band. Depends on the time frame there, Kevin. I mean, we have to know the time frame. Edwin says, I agree, Tom. Algos create stress. They do. Look at the repricing of the market and how fast it's become. And then Tony Hall says, short selling stocks and robo trading are killing the market. Short selling stocks has never been, it's always been a part of the market. There's always been nasty short selling stocks. Now, obviously, more people are aware of it, maybe. I don't know if that's killing the market because if you notice a lot of short stuff, like say, like, you know, what's one of the most shorted stocks probably of the last 5 years? Does anyone know one of the most shorted stocks? Not like the AMC, GMEs, one of the big ones. Which big giant player that's on the screen actually at the moment was one of the most shorted stocks? And look where it went. It actually got squeezed before people really knew what a squeeze was. Mark Wilkins says, thanks for everything, Tom. Think you would get into Z again? Tempting base, maybe. The old Zillow group. Yeah, I would consider it for sure. What's the valuation? 15.75 billion. You know what? I just want to have a look at something for a second. That's crazy. So this is the most popular real estate company in Australia. It's worth 21.36 billion Australian dollars. And then when we look at Zillow, if that market cap is to be believed, it's 15.75. Now, a lot of people use Zillow, I believe, for rentals as well, yeah? Edwin says, but Tom, TA also works 99% because of algos and HFTs. It does to a degree, but trends trading and swing trading are getting, like swing trading in general is always going to work on human psychology. So it depends. Tesla was the answer to the squeeze. That's correct. Tesla was one of the most shorted stocks. Zillow will be okay. It has based here, you would think. And if it gets back through this zone, yeah, it's certainly a big point of interest. This is actually not too bad. I would agree. It's starting to base here. Let's have a look at the weekly. Long leg doji, decision made. It's not bad. I mean, volume is going down again after that initial kind of rally. But yeah, it's not too bad. And price-wise, we're talking about 2018. They really made some mistakes, it looks like, with their pricing on buying books and stuff. Crazy. Tesla owners' satisfaction is low. Is that true? Zillow is used to daydream. Tom, any Evergrande news? Not this stage. But the problem is going to be there for years. Don't worry about that. It's bad. When everyone's not talking, it's bad. It's bad. We know. We all know. You guys all know. Where there's one, there's many. Where there's many, it's bad. How long does it take to manifest into a really bad problem? Years. Will it manifest? I highly think so. But it's going to be a while. And that's why you can't always look at these things and think, oh, is this a problem right now? The market looks forward, sure. But realistically, at this stage, it's being fixed to a degree. Can we take a look at Matic? We certainly will. We'll check out the cryptos in just a second. DKNG breaches its downward trend for the first time. Good news, I guess, for DKNG fans. Let's have a look at the 2 hour actually on this. Yeah, I mean, it's looking better. It's still pretty poor, but it's looking better. So there's so many stocks that are in opportunities. I mean, Netflix was one that came down to our red zone again. You think you missed it, but you didn't. Come straight back down, and you get that opportunity, and it looks a lot better. Nvidia 294, really finding a bit more base here with the semiconductors, though I'm not sure if this is going to be the strongest stock for the start of 2020. It is moving. It still moves with large percentages, but everyone's talking about it. It's kind of like AMD. Both these stocks, everyone discusses. AMD, for me, I've got a trap like this. 146, breach out, movement back up to maybe a 160 at that point. Could be very nice. So there's a lot of some great stuff in the market in terms of opportunity. But speaking of markets outside of the commodities action, which I think is exciting, let's talk about this BTC. So, firstly, community. We've got 500 people here. What do you guys think about BTC? Are you feeling confident on BTC's price? What do you think about the BTC price here? Scott says, get DKNG off my screen. Have you been ignoring your portfolio, Scott? I don't blame you, man. I don't blame you. Tom says that FX Evolution IWM looking good, man. Yeah, it's looking much better. 226 next area. We need to just see follow through in the next session, pull back to the 220 ideally, and then movement towards 226. But it is looking much better. So you guys think wild and wiki and bear traps and all sorts of things. All right. So we haven't closed above here yet. What's going on? Why does it keep rallying and failing? This is annoying. So we have here this 49,400, let's call it. And we keep failing to get above it. It's not that hard. It's just a little rejection week. Why can't we close above it? We've come above it. We just we can't close above it. So I think that's a big deal. You know, we close above this. We show the signs of recovery towards 52. And 52, that's what we're looking for over the Christmas break, over the new year. Get above 52, bring the rally back through. That's going to be big. Now, there are signs across so many cryptos, though, that things are improving. And this is where I think people sometimes misinterpret. And don't worry, we'll look at Matic in a second. So firstly, ADA, what's going on here? Well, ADA is doing really well. Look at the line. We talked about it. We brought it back onto the charts. The base, the descending triangle, the closure out, which is this candle here, and the initial rally. I mean, that's not bad. That's a little rally here. Little sneaky rally upwards of 5.41%. A very nice beginning here for ADA. And no matter how you look at it, this is strong action at this stage. Now, you could say, but Tom, look at the weekly, look at the daily 20. We're not above that yet. Sure, it's the stages of recovery. So stage 1, complete. Stage 2, through the 20. Stage 3, 140, and then bang. That's what scaling's all about. Look at the stages and get in as you see fit. That's the kind of way with your systems, with whatever you're doing. Now, is Matic breaking out? You would have to think yes. Matic is another one that's been a strong upward trend now for a while. It held pretty well through this initial crash. And just like a lot of these, when they hold well, they tend to have that kind of firepower underneath them to do much better. So Matic 260, you would think this is going towards moving to all-time highs. I mean, this is a big daily closure for it. It may still pull back to this line, so like a bam bam, but it looks a lot better. Let's have a look at Solana, another one that you guys liked, though I am seeing Solana fade in people's menu, in people's memories at the moment. So Solana is nowhere near as popular as it was, and you can tell that in the stock price. After that initial rally, it's had some resurgences, but it's just not as popular. Do you guys like Solana that much? Tell me. How I see Solana is this: horizontal closures above the wick, that 190 plus. That's what we need. So look how many cryptos. They're all telling a very similar story. Bitcoin's on the cusp. Ethereum is on the cusp. ADA doesn't care. It's already gone. DOT's improved. $28, a big improvement here in DOT, 11.72%. Because KSM is sucking. I don't know what's going on with Kasama right now. It's no good. Bitcoin, 49.4. That's what we need. 49.4. Come on now. 190 plus on Solana. Matic is the Tesla of crypto's last few months. There you go. Finken says it. Overhyped. It's certainly moving. It's certainly moving. And then Cardis Karma says Beyond. You mean like Beyond Meat? That's still a thing? Wait, Beyond Meat have a... Oh, okay. Whoa! I didn't know it was so low. That's because I never look at it. Ooh. Ooh. What a great story. No moat. Or very low moat. That's the problem with this company. A lot of people misinterpret their investments. Trades are one thing. Investing, always consider the word moat. This is the Warren Buffett word. And in fact, the principle of all businesses. You've got to be really well aware of your business. And I will say this out to everybody out there. If you're ever considering starting your own business, the best thing that I think you can do, and I've talked to a lot of pretty smart people, okay? It's not actually the word moat. It's if you're going to start a business, you need a competitive advantage, yeah? The only way you're going to be able to really figure out a competitive advantage is to maybe go and work in other businesses that are already doing well in the industry. Even if you go work there for 6 months, look at their systems, look at how they do things, be honest with yourself about whether you have a competitive advantage. How many people do you know that start coffee shops because they think it's going to be cool, but they have absolutely no idea about coffee shops? It's unbelievable how many people start these types of businesses. Yeah. So here is the base for this particular stock. You would think it is finding base at this price. And if we bring down the old resistance, I mean, it is, look, it's improving here. You can tell there's a little bit of action going on. 75 plus, that'll be a fairly decent deal for it. It's not the worst. I've had their burger. It's okay. Lucas says, Tom, you didn't see my super chat. Well, let me go up here. Ah, there it is, Lucas. $5. Thank you very much, Lucas. Could you take a look at eBay? Found it very interesting and bought 100K of it. Ooh, he's gone in, guys. Don't tell me how much you've traded, though. I don't think. I mean, I'm excited that if you do well on it, but yeah, don't let me know because I don't want to know. I don't want to know. But I wish you all the best. Now let's have a look. So I'm assuming you're basing this on an investment-based level, and you're saying, okay, previous resistance is becoming support. Now you are through the trend line, so there's no trend line support. You're also underneath the weekly 50, which is slightly problematic based on where it's been so far. It's weakening fairly hard, okay? There's no doubt about that. Like, I mean, all of these levels, like you would have hoped it stopped here around 66. So let's go down to the daily. And you've picked this as your zone, which I think is based purely on probably price and the fact that you think this resistance is going to act as support. Probably also some kind of fib. Let's see if you put a fib on the whole thing. Maybe on this run here, check the fib on it. Yeah, 50 fib, makes sense. So there's reasons why it could stop here. Let's have a look at the recent price action. All right. Recent price action, there's not much strength. So every time it's rallied, it's kind of failed. I feel you'll be much happier above 65 because 65, you'll notice here you've got resistance. It's breached twice down, like as in it goes up and then goes straight back down. But the good thing is it's gone green, a little red, and a green here today. So it needs to get back up above 65 and you'll feel a lot more comfortable. And that'll be because you're forming a base. There's not much base here. Usually when you're trying to buy these, again, scaling may be the principle, you're looking at it from the perspective of, have we seen a turnaround story yet? I mean, you'll even notice on this 2 hour, look at this, the 2 hour 20 is actually holding eBay down. So maybe another good sign, first sign will be a breach of the 20 actually with a close, because there is no breach at this stage. So yeah, try to find accumulation bases from a technical perspective, Wyckoff bases, inverse head and shoulders, double bottom, some type of thing like this, lightning bolts. Usually all trends will start like that. And then you will get into the participation phase. Trying to buy the dip, it's more of a fundamental play, which is totally fine. But yeah, that's how I see it. What's a moat? So moat is basically how hard is it to get into the business. So think about competitive advantage, but to the next degree. If you tried to compete with Disney, could you do it? The answer is pretty much no. It would take too much money. Could you compete with Microsoft? The answer is no. Can you compete with Google? Everyone tries to create a search engine. The answer is no. So when a company basically becomes either very restrictive to get into because there might be a limited amount of licenses or there's only a few players in the game, effectively, that's when you have a huge moat. Moat is also built around maybe your own IP. So maybe you have a competitive advantage technology-wise over everyone else, and they can't catch up. In some ways, Tesla has a high moat on robotaxi. Yeah, I understand, Lucas. Yeah, I understand it's not a trade just for the long term. Yeah, I get the level. Don't get me wrong. It's not that I don't get the level. I just think there's a distinction between. We found the level. I mean, 50% fib, previous resistance support. That's on the eBay. Absolutely. Sugar Booger, $5. Can you check out AMC? Surely we can. Absolutely. Let's check that AMC out. All right. Let's get rid of these. Actually, I'll leave that one there and I'll put that over there for today's video. And what we'll do is we'll come over here to dot and we'll just chuck AMC on. So you don't have to deal with all the pivot lines. You don't need pivots for everything. All right. So how do I feel about AMC? Not great, really. I know it ramped and it went from like $20 up to $28 or $30, but I'm not convinced by these trades. And I'm not convinced mostly because the market's weird. So you've got like a rejection showing you weakness, then you get a bull strength kind of candle, and then you get another rejection weakness kind of candle all underneath the 50 weekly. So it's not looking fantastic to me. If you're thinking, where is the big squeeze levels on this? It's probably going to be around this 34. Breach of that will be a big zone. And for the next sessions, you'd want to be looking around here. So if it gets underneath like 28, 10, 28, 19, then that will be obviously fairly weak for the next session. You would think come back down maybe even. But overall, not loving it. Not loving it. We go back to GME. GME's holding on, but barely. It's a kind of like a role reversal right now. And this is the support that if it gets broken, down we go. Down we go. So that's the way I look at it. TA is not in the favor heavily here of the squeezes. Tom, can you have a look at SE? Sure. What's the price on that now? Ooh, not bad. Back to where I like it, actually. Surprised I didn't get triggered. Why didn't I get triggered? Oh, that's why. I had 200. What? Ah. It's why you probably should have set slightly higher than 200 on SE. Oh, look at it. It comes down to 292. Stupid thing. Yeah, look, this is much better price. So it's one of the most overpriced stocks in the market up here. And when they went to the market for cash because they ripped cash really fast, that was probably the sign. Well, I even mentioned it that I was done with it at that point. Now we get more interesting here. This is like the hyper stocks. So December 2020 to now, SE has now performed a 0% gain. It is a quality stock with a quality idea, and I think they implement incredibly well in countries. They do burn cash out of control, though, which is a bit of a problem. Let's have a look at the 4-hour here. So the 4-hour is probably the time frame you want to watch. Is there even a trend line that I care about there? No, there isn't. So I'm going to delete that. So you'll notice here, it's so far rejecting this 4-hour 20 moving average. You probably want to see it like this. Bam. Get through, create some kind of base, which it's currently doing, and it will look a lot better. SE is coming back on the watch list. That's for sure. Get back up there, SE. We'll pop it over there because I like the stock a lot. I just want the better price. And one of the ways to kind of figure out how overpriced something is, I'll give you a little bit of a tip, a little bit of a Christmas tip. Let's bring this up right now. I want to show you how ridiculous this stock's been for quite some time. Right, so you can basically get something like a macro trends out. And then what you want to be doing is from basic fundamental perspective, you kind of need to think about where the PS ratios are and where it should be compared to its standards. And this is showing us that it was trading much more reasonably, obviously before the whole pandemic. And like a lot of these hyper stocks, they're coming back into more reasonable valuations from a PS ratio than where they were. And I think it was even higher than this at one point, actually. Maybe this is not slightly incorrect data. Now, has the ramp of the stock in terms of growth improved? Yes. So it deserves to be traded at a higher multiple. But remember, just around here, we went almost, that's probably like a 30% increase itself, and the ratio didn't go up. It then increased a little bit, and the ratio didn't go up. As a percentage increase, it's doing good, but it's burning cash. And at the same time, percentage increase is probably more drawing it towards this level over here. So now it's at these prices. Is it more reasonable? The answer is yes, it is more reasonable. You're at a 15.17 and you used to have it high of around 10. So, and 17 is any of this 23 and stuff like that is too expensive. Take an example of something like a T-Doc, yeah? If we look at a T-Doc and you think about how high it got, it went to an 18, 19, and now is T-Doc cheap? Yeah. I mean, T-Doc's trading at a PS ratio multiple, and this is because this is what happens when a growth stock stops growing. Look at this. It's stagnating. And when something stagnates, where does it go? All the way back down to Funky Town, like when it originally was stagnating. So when something starts stagnating in multiple quarters, where are we going? Back to 6. That's the type of thing we want to be thinking about. Just got here to watermark. Just on this particular one. Here you go. Don't worry. SE. That's what we were talking about. So SE at a much fairer price. And a good technical. 200 certainly was a good technical. That's a falling knife, though. So you need to see base. You can't just pick this up. You don't want to catch a falling knife unless you've got investment plans. Is volume high? Yes. Does that show transactions? Yes. But it's not quite at the multiple that feels good yet. Deborah Smith. Hi, Kevin. I fell asleep and missed most of the stream. No worries, Deborah. Appreciate you being here this year. Tom, can we have a look at Amazon? Sure. How'd J&J go today? Bouncing. Nice. Very good. Right off our little green zone we were talking about in the stream last night. That's good. Boeing is a horror story of 2021. Eventually, yes, I'm sure it will recover, but we've seen a few nice recovery plans, and it only started stage 1, and we never got stage 2. And just like here, it could be a double bottom, could be a breach. I don't know. Not a huge fan of the old Boeing. Fool me once. You know that saying? That's a fool me once. I'm not coming back for a while. Amazon looks good on the base. So a lot of little strong rejections here. And if we think about the 4-hour, it's buying. It's uncharacteristically, well, it's not uncharacteristically weak for this time of year, but it's still a very good price in comparison to where it's been. I think Amazon, it's only a matter of time. I mean, yes, okay, we've talked about 4,000 for now 2 months. It's pretty slow. It's basically done nothing in that time. We moved up to the resistance. You could have scaled off there for sure and then waited for a breach and then gone towards the 4,000. That would have been very okay. But yeah, I like the base it's forming. Just need to breach some more zones here like this. And of course, the 35.50 would be good. So I already like what it's doing. Looks better than it could. Then we got Scott Morgan coming on $5 beam, moving averages turning upward, about to break trend line, and just gave us a long leg doji. Yeah, I like all the beams. The beam and even the CRISPR to a degree, they look much, much better. And we'll have a look at CRISPR in a second. So here's the breach. There's the long leg doji. There's the decision made. We've got another long leg doji, but it looks like it's set its base for now. I mean, that 81 becomes very strong support as well. The gains could be upwards of 100 initially. We know where this stock's been. I mean, this stock's been as high as $140 this year. Pretty solid one. Definitely one of Kathy Wood's favorite CRISPR stocks. CRISPR itself also basing quite nicely here. So you'll notice the turnaround story across these biotechs that have been beaten really, really hard for 2021. I mean, you're down on every one of these. You're getting a price, and this is almost unbelievable to me. You're getting a price of 2019 on this stock. In fact, it's a 2018 price. So bio is not that expensive in comparison to where it's been. Now, when you actually look at their businesses, you can kind of tell. They've got massive lead times. They've got a lot of risks and they burn cash. Healthcare early 2022 certainly could be. How are the financials looking? Well, the easiest way to look at the financials is to go straight sector look and watch the sector and see what it's doing. So at this stage, you would think that it's in the middle of nowhere land. Trapped within the middle of nowhere land for the sectors. How's the old crypto going? It's doing pretty good. All right, guys. Well, look, I want to just say thank you so much for your subscriptions this year, for the comments that you've been posting, for your messages in the community, the likes, the whatever else you've been doing for the community itself. We really appreciate it. I really appreciate it. I want you each to have an amazing Merry Christmas to you and your families. Obviously, a Happy New Year as well. We will be returning bigger and better in 2022. So don't forget about us. Make sure you come back and support the stream. I really would appreciate it when we start off. We'll be putting more effort into it. We'll be doing even more stuff. Even if we've already been putting effort in, but we'll continue to push because that's what you've got to do. You've got to be better and bigger and everything like that. And I just want to say again, thank you so much. it's been a dream of mine really to start something like a YouTube or some kind of thing to share our knowledge. We've done education for years, don't get me wrong. We've done trading for years, but really the pandemic opened up the window for us to be able to do this, to be able to get this catch fire to a degree on YouTube and create a channel. So thank you so much, because yeah, it was always what I wanted to do. I do have the 100K goal in mind. I'm not thinking I'm getting to a million. Don't worry about that. But I'd love to get to 100. And I think that's an accomplishment for anyone. So it's just like anything. It's like any milestone in your life, whether you're a business owner and you've started a cafe, I'm sure you'd feel amazing when you get your first customers that come in and repeat and tell you how great things are. It's one of those things that really makes you grateful. And I am very grateful for the 2021 and 2020 years that we've had. And I hope that we've made some changes to your trading styles and shown you that it's not about the quick buck, it's about the consistency. Trading is a marathon, it is not a sprint. Okay. And when you trade it like a sprint, you will inadvertently lose money. We have all been there. We've all had the great win that usually hooks us into trading. It's generally 90% of the reason why traders stick around. They've originally made some kind of big cash doing something. They get the taste for it, and then they come back for more, make all the mistakes in the book, and it's our job to hopefully help create a safe community where you guys can see that there are ways of doing it. It's all about risk mitigation and other things. Finkin79 says, you've helped my trading more than anything ever. No BS. Love this channel. That's great, Finkin. Yeah, look, I've done some bad mistakes in my career, just like everybody out there has done it. Don't do what I did. Practice scaling, practice accumulation bases, practice the idea of being patient. It's the trades that you don't take that were going to turn out badly that actually change you from being one of those 95% plebs to the 5% success over the long term. And I mean, look, it's in the stock market, it's actually a higher stat of success, because what do we know? If you're optimistic in the markets, you generally do turn out to be successful. We also generally all tend to jump through from the blue chip into the medium stocks, into the penny stocks. And then we make mistakes in the penny stocks and then come back to the blue chip. So just remember, there's a reason why big money does trade quality. And it's not really just to do with the quality itself. It's to do with the consistency of the risk. And that's something that you really want to be thinking about. Risk is mostly what these guys talk about when they're talking about fund returns. How do they do it? Lucas Reese says, $2. Words of Charlie Munger. The first 100K is a BTCH. There you go. Absolutely, Lucas. It's hard to make the first bit, but once you do it, it's about protecting it at that point. And I hope you guys do protect it. That's a big one. Glenn Bear, $5. Thank you, Tom. Your market insights and education have really helped me build confidence in my trading. Have a great holiday. No worries, Glenn. Will do. And then everyone else, thank you very much for their kind words. Langdon. When I don't watch Tom, I lose money. Watch Tom for a week, we go green. Stop and we go red again. Tom is go. Well, you better take a hiatus while we're not doing as many videos at Langdon. Thank you very much for the kind word, and appreciate all the smashing of the likes. The best YouTube channel. Thanks, Tom. No worries, guys. I appreciate all of you. And Trader McStockster. I kind of like that name. I don't know why, but whenever I hear Mc, the MC, I always think Mayor McCheese from McDonald's. I do love Mayor McCheese. Have a Merry Christmas, everybody. Thank you, Tom. You've taught me so much this year. I watch you twice a day. You are a god then if you do that. And have learned so much watching you break down your charts. See you in 2022. No worries, guys. Scott, you need to yeah, but see, Scott, the problem is Scott said he lost some money this year. The problem is that you're in a little bit of the penny stocks, a little bit, sometimes a little bit in the penny. Plus, you've obviously invested heavily in one. Thank you very much, Lucas, for becoming a member. Appreciate that. And yeah, thank you so much for the support. All right, guys. Well, that wraps us up for the live streams for the year. We'll see you back in 2022. It won't be the first week. It'll be straight after that. We will still be producing some content on the channel, so please do support and watch it if you want to. I'll produce a video today, so that don't worry, that will be coming out with the market recap of what's going on. And then we'll probably do a weekend video really with some insights into what we're looking for in 2022. So I think that'll be a good one. It's all happening. The markets aren't going anywhere. And you know what the great thing about 2022 is I'm very sure in my mind that 2022 is going to be the year of the trader. And you might have thought that 2020 and 2021 were the years of the trader. They were the easy money. Now the trader comes through. And what I mean by that is we're not going to see 27% market in rises or 80% market S&Ps. We're going to see chop. We're going to see trade action and rotation. So hopefully you'll join us for that journey. It'll be a great 2022 from that action. Catch you for now. Bye. Happy holidays. See ya.